Hi, you. It's me, Nicole Phoenix Star, and this is the Nick Star podcast. So, I'm actually recording this at night, and usually I do it during the day. I just was in the shower and I had this huge pull to come downstairs and record now. And I always follow strong pulls that arise from within, because I had a really fun shutdown tonight. Because I have been a single parent for pretty much the most of the last 22 years. My beautiful daughter will be 25 this week, and I was actually 25 and a half when I fell pregnant with her. So this year, well, by her next birthday, she would have been in my life more than she hasn't been. And yeah, it kind of blows your mind how quickly it goes. And she was 3 when Mr. Star and I separated. And when I had my third child, his father was only around for a couple of months, which was divine alignment. And in the window of hindsight, I have definitely learned that that was a blessing for us all and was the way things were meant to be. Anyway, I'm going to get back to the point of this finding the magic in the mundane. And I was kind of thinking, magic isn't quite the words that I'm looking for. It's rather finding the whole in the mundane, or letting life live through you, which leads to a fullness in all moments, including the mundane. And over the last few weeks, this has really been something that I intentionally started a practice in, because there's been 4 things this year that I have felt really were ripe for evolution and were kind of loose ends in my evolutionary and full maturing. And that is my 20-year dislike for school holidays. I have, on some level, not enjoyed school holidays for the last 20 years. It's a lot of mothering and parenting and single parenting time. I always found it kind of a whole lot of extra work, because I've always worked in some capacity, and for the last 21 years I've worked for myself, and for the last 13 years, no longer than that, 15 years, I have worked in the entrepreneurial solo work for myself arena. And previous to that, I'd been in business partnership with family and things. So yeah, you've got to get the things done, and there is no consistent wage coming in, and school holidays kind of felt quite a burden during those times. I didn't have the spaciousness to kind of work in the way that I usually do when children are at school, and having to do, extra meals and all of that. And I always find it, more of a financial burden during school holidays. And so I just always was very it's funny words crossing my mind right now, contracted around it, and kind of always wishing it to be over or wishing it away or writing it out. And, nowhere else in my life I do that. And it's something that feels incongruent. And I wanted to be able to be fully present and not go into that habit of not liking it and the habit of wishing it away. And so that's what it felt like. And I stepped into it, and I had to kind of like build a bridge for myself where I was like, just keep reminding myself to be fully present, experience each moment for the fullness that it is. And this is the first school holidays that Leo hasn't had his nanny, because we completed having her in May, because she ran out of things to do, like essentially she just picked Leo up from school, brought him home, cooked dinner for him, and dropped off the laundry for me. And they were getting less and less things for her to do as he became more independent, and he kind of grew out of the need for that. And I kind of transferred her job onto him. And so we did a lot of training for him to be more self-sufficient and more independent. And so we had to kind of transition that into school holidays as well. And, although I may have had a nanny, it wasn't always a huge help that one would think it may be. And Leo now has his own transport app on his phone, kind of like the Indonesian Uber, and he orders his bike taxi to take him to school, and he organises his bike taxi to come back, so there's no driving needed. And yeah, he's got certain chores, and I've trained him in some meals to be able to cook for himself, but also I really love cooking, and we've really kind of developed his palate and his range of food, and it's been a beautiful journey for us. And then kind of filling in the other many hours during school holidays, it's been a process that has turned it into this like really beautiful experience. And we talked about it the other day, how we both really enjoyed it. And it's because I applied, my practice of presence. And there's been so many times in my life, like it's felt like Groundhog Day. And especially when, the sun goes down, it's time to close the doors, turn off the lights, turn on the outside lights, do the washing up, shut everything down, all of that, like always being my job because there's no one, and there very rarely has been anyone to share it with. And I've always kind of like gone through waves of resentment or just, kind of doing it in automatic. But tonight I observed myself doing it, and oh my God, it felt like I was in this dance. I was in this dance and I was like pulling that curtain while flicking that switch, and everything was like this continuous movement. And I even did a couple of spins in the middle of it because I was observing myself doing it. And I don't know, like there's this part of me that has always kind of loved rituals and routine, but only when they've been like, fun or spiritual or something. And then getting back into the mundane, it's been like switching out of it. And so for a long time, I've been ceasing that turning off experience of like, hopping in meditation and dropping into the space and stepping out and feeling amazing, and then like back into life, and it being two different things. So like I said, I intentionally stepped into these 8 weeks of school holidays with that intention. There's 3 days left of this 8-week block, and it's really gone very fast, and it's been an absolute pleasure, all of it, because I've used it as a 8-week sadhana to be able to keep myself in the present moment. And it's applied to every single thing I do, like whether it's at the supermarket or whatever, you're there anyway. And so rather than like resenting it or wishing it to be different or thinking about the 100 things that you're going to do after that, being fully present in that moment and having the full range of life in that moment and allowing all the emotions that may be in that moment and feeling them as far as they need to go, because you're in that moment anyway. So you can either use it to be annoyed or use it to fully experience this human experience and experience this life, whether it's the most glorious, exciting thing or it's closing the curtains at the end of the day. There is no difference. It's just that moment of life. And I've really been able to apply that during these school holidays, because I'm able to apply it in like 95% of my life. But there's this habit of this old operating system that I don't like that thing. And there's just, some of the times I find myself out of the present moment, and I notice like it's kind of when I'm tired or I push myself too far and I'm stretched or squeezed, and I just need to stop, kind of recalibrate and recognize the moment that I push myself out of the present moment and ended up in a squeezy moment. And then I realized that, the older I've gotten, and the more like how everything becomes a ritual and life is meditation, because I have my morning ritual, which, involve a workout 3 times a week and going for a walk 2 times a week and doing food prep and doing meditation and doing my hand washing and cooking 3 times a day. And sometimes some baking once a week, and all of these like little rituals that nourish me, and all the little rituals of all the things that need to be done. There is no separation of things I don't like doing and things that I do like doing, and it just creates a richness in life, because allowing the full range of that moment to be present and experienced and lived makes everything such a full experience. You don't need to run around in any busyness trying to feel full. It truly can be in all the magical perceived and all the mundane perceived moments. It's funny, I had a woman reach out to me a few weeks ago. She's actually a cousin of an ex of mine, and she said she was going to Bali, and if I was available, that maybe we could have lunch. And I did go and meet her for lunch on Saturday, and we were just talking about everything in the whole wide world. It was lovely. And I said to her, I used to run around the world searching for happiness. And then I sat on my butt and closed my eyes for a year, and I found it and so much more. And she's like, oh my God, what did you say? I need to record that. That was fun, Ange. And I was like, yeah, wow, that sounded profound, didn't it? She goes, yeah. And I said, oh, don't get me wrong, I still love traveling, but I can just close my eyes or do the dishes. I'll lay by the pool. I'll go to the temple. I'll sit at my desk in front of, the device in front of me and speak. And it's all so expansive. And it's life living through me. And there is no separation between the mundane and the magical. It's the richness of life being experienced in every moment that I have as my automatic operating system. And when it's not that, it's because I'm either, having an argument in my head about something, or I'm out in the future trying to think that I need to know something. And every time I get present, I'm able to do everything I need to do and more. And anything that needs to be done always gets done. And I think that's the illusion that we live in, that we need to plan these things and know what's going to happen. We spend so much time preparing for that. And that version never, ever, ever unfolds. Ever. And we've just missed out of the richness of the moment that we're in. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you today. My mastery of school holidays, resentment, and the magic in the evening shutdown of a long-term single solo parent. Finding a sense of ritual in every action. Closing my eyes, being happy in everything and more. That's freedom. That is liberation. And that is living life. And allowing life to live through you and experiencing it beyond anything you could ever imagine. And for that, to be so clear of the point of it all, to experience it all by being present in every single second. So thank you so much for listening to me today. I'm so grateful. So funny that I've been wanting to do this podcast for years and I have no agenda, like trying to build a list or convert an audience or anything like that. It's like it feels like grace to me. We've been working with my inner circle students last week on grace, and grace feels like the feedback in your skin from the experience of each moment to the fullness. I adore having these conversations. And I get a big bonus. I get people messaging me and sharing their experience and sharing with others and starting conversations with others. It's such a honor and pleasure to witness and be part of. So thank you so much. So if there is anyone that you think may benefit from this, please feel free to share. My website is www.nickstar.com, NIKSTARR. That's all I have. I love you. Bye.